just sort of pop in and out sort of as I choose when things get weird.
That's fun.
I mean, you sound sick, dude.
I'm a little
There's a lot
fucked
of
up right
coughing
now.
in the background.
Yeah, I don't mean that in a mean way, but
No. I wasn't ready to like get on it yet. I have to like, give me a minute.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab a beer.
all right, I feel you.
Do you want to hear something kind of weird?
Yes, of course.
The other, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got a text from Joe Nelson, and he like heard that I was out here, and he asked if he could if he made it out there, could he stay with me? And I was like, sure, man, because I just didn't think he would make it over here. But then last week or like a week and a half ago, he sent me a text. He's like, hey, does the end of March work? I have a trip planned with Phil and Joe Novak. And I was just like, what the fuck? So they're coming to stay with me next weekend. But like, yeah.
How the fuck is Joe Novak getting out there? Doesn't he live in Atlanta? He's flying to Colorado.
I think they all are.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, I thought it was really super fucking random because I'm not really friends with any of them.
Mosley, get yourself ready to record as soon as possible if you would.
I'm good to go.
Okay, hold on. Now I'm the one being a fucker.
Yeah, no, like I said, I just had to do that real quick.
I'm ready to hit record.
All right.
3, 2, 1, boom.
Bet. I mean, dude, I think you can safely expect that Nelson is pretty much always going to show up, dude. Like, whenever I don't know. He doesn't strike me as the type of person who's unreliable in that sort of way.
I was just surprised because I'm not good, close with them.
Yeah, but you're I can't remember what it is, but there's this amazing episode of How I Met Your Mother where essentially like the sexless innkeeper, dude. You're the sexless innkeeper. You're like the guy who goes home with the girl, but the girl's only going home with him to have a place to crash for the night. Like there's nothing that's gonna happen at all. Like
I see what you mean.
I don't mean I guess I was gonna say I don't mean that in a mean way, but
I know what you mean.
Whatever way you say it.
I don't want to have sex with Joe Novak or or any of the three.
Well, again, the analogy is more so like they're utilizing you for your home in a place where they want to be. How long are they staying for?
4 days.
That's pretty
Friday
good.
through Monday.
That's pretty good. So like what do you do what do you do at night out there? Like are there things to do? Like is night skiing a thing?
No. Mostly I drink a lot. My drug game has been pretty strong too. So, yeah.
I'll be interested to see like how many of them just like cuz how many of them start blazing if any of those three will blaze while they're out there.
I mean I have like 4 tabs of acid in my wallet.
None of them will do any of that.
And I have about 2 grams of coke.
Who is it again?
Phil, Joe, and Joe.
Phil, Joe, and
Joe.
Oh wow, dude! I can think like if you said I think a really user friendly over under would be 1.5 people, dude. Because I think that like Nelson's probably the one that you can definitely get in, dude, for sure.
Well, you would get Nelson to do it if the other two weren't around. Like Novak's just going to be such a downer. He's going to be like, why don't we just go get fucked up and do butt stuff together? And Phil's going to be like, Jesus wouldn't want us to smoke pot.
Yeah, that's true. But I also like
some gummy bears.
I don't know, man. I like to live in a universe where Jesus probably had more important things going on than worrying about those sorts of things. Will Mosley is drinking out of one of the largest water apparatus I have ever encountered. What is that? Is that 2 liters right there that you're drinking out of currently? It's got to be at least 1.5.
Is that even water?
3 liters.
3 liters. You're drinking out of it, and you find that is the most effective and efficient way for you to consume
No, that's water. Yeah.
H2O.
That's
because
absurd.
that's absurd is a perfect word to describe it. I mean,
When
that's
I'm
just
sick,
way too
I
much.
drink that much water.
Will Mosley does sound a little. Yeah, you sound sick, man. What's going
Big
on there?
Water, come at us if you're trying to host and if you're trying to sponsor this podcast. Let's get Big Water. Like, let's build.
And so, like, in your opinion, you see like who's the Nike of the water business? In your opinion, like if you're going after that in your head, you're like, dude, because Dasani's got to be pretty good. That's Coca-Cola, dude.
Dasani's the Nike, and then
Dude, what about like
Deer Park would probably be
Smart
the
Water?
Adidas.
What was
is that like
then?
the Lululemon, like Smart Water or Life Water?
Lululemon makes water.
No, bro. No. Like the Nike. You just said the Nike of water, bro, and I'm throwing in a different like.
Dude, the Nike of water I would think would be Dasani. Fiji's really good too.
Fiji, I was thinking Fiji and Smart Water would be like the high-end sneaker brands.
But
I mean,
like, nah, that's too high end. Like, you got to go something that's accessible to every
Evian.
household in America. That's who we're trying to pitch to here, boys. That's who we're trying to build with. Let's get some sponsorships on this podcast. Deer Park, shout out.
I have a question. The Air Jordans that are sold in Walmart, are those actual Air Jordans? Are they Jordan brand shoes, or is that something like Polo brand at Steinmart? That's
I've
like not
never
really
seen Jordans at Walmart.
I don't go to Walmart to buy Jordans.
I don't go to Walmart to buy Jordans, but no, I mean, like, I've been in the Walmart shoe section. I just bought some like crappy shoes for Okeechobee from Walmart for $10, but like, I definitely didn't see any Jordans in those aisles.
Well, I mean, I would be willing to venture that like 55% of the shoes that were worn by the 10% of people at Okeechobee who had shoes on were probably purchased at Walmart. Like, no one's going out there in their Louis Vuittons, dude.
I don't know, man. There was a lot of groups that looked like exactly like Joe, Chad, and Phil during college that were wearing like their gray New Balances or their like Nike Shocks.
And that's really fucking lame, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was 20% of the whole festival. They can do what they want, man. That was the great part about being out there. It was just there were a lot of people that didn't see eye to eye with me on a lot of things, but we were all out there just to hang out and not get in each other's way, listen to music and hang out.
And being careful, because this is a family show, but not really. Like, those things in your head were...
What do you mean?
Like, those things that were going on around you that you were just referring to, those were what?
A lot of drugs and a lot of great music.
Right, and the best act was...
That's tough to say, man. That's tough to say. So Okeechobee's definitely leans more EDM on the scales, but they had a really good spread of everything. Slightly Stupid put on a really amazing show. The Flaming Lips are incredible as always. Show that probably surprised me that I didn't think that I would end up liking that much. Halsey.
Yes,
she's an incredible performer.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me though. Doesn't really surprise me at all.
Did
but
you go to Arcade Fire or anything?
Arcade Fire was actually on Sunday night at like 11 p.m. and we actually got in the car and packed up and left on Sunday night so that we could drive back. And I actually drove back all night to Newberry.
Got it.
On Monday morning. So we missed Arcade Fire, but we both had to work on Tuesday morning, so there was no need in staying down there for one extra show.
This is who, you and your brother?
No, me and my girlfriend.
Oh, that's what's up. So, I mean, dude, put it up on the poll, though, like at _ the nosebleeds. Have you seen Air Jordans or something similar at Walmart? Because I'm not fucking with you. There is something very similar to Jordan happening at Walmart, and that is not something that I would have ever expected.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I would assume that anything that's at Walmart is like the Jordan that's like dunking with his left hand or something on the logo.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're all familiar with these brands, like, right? Like there's these brands out there that are like just barely off from what we actually expect it to be. And that sort of seems maybe like the market that that company might be trafficking in. Like, I don't know.
Oh
Maybe.
yeah, I
I
mean,
don't think
sure.
that's
There's
unfair.
everything from like U.S. Polo Assassin definitely tries
That's
to
it.
like
That's
play
what I'm
off
talking about.
of
That's the
Ralph
brand that I
Lauren
was talking
Polo.
about. Yeah,
No
exactly.
free ads.
Right. No free ads, dude. I love it. And so I guess on that note, like, welcome. This is from the Nosebleeds. I'm Andrew Levin. Mac Young is in Colorado. It's snowing behind him, which is unfair to the rest of us because it looks beautiful as fuck. And Will Mosley, you're sick as shit, dude.
I am, in fact,
But
going
anyway,
on 8 days of it.
this is the podcast. We've got a little bit of bullshit to talk about tonight. Some other bullshit like the NCAA tournament. I don't know. We'll see what we get into. Will Mosley, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd like to talk about something that caught my eye right before we got on. Starting to happen a couple weeks ago. He did a thing last week, and then he came out today and went 4 under. And if it wasn't for a double bogey, he'd be sitting at like second place in the tourney right now. And that'd be in your neck of the woods. That'd be golf. And we're talking, is Tiger back again?
I don't know, man. I mean, we're gonna do it again. Like, we're gonna do this right off the bat. Like, did we not? Did we talk about this in the literal first fucking episode where we sat here and sort of lamented the fact that
first or second.
that he's never coming back and that we're ridiculous. We're being ridiculous to sort of sit here and assume that he's going to be anything close to what he once was. And it's been what, literally 5 fucking weeks, maybe 5 or 6 fucking weeks, right?
And he looks good.
He looks
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
And
He
yet,
looks really, really good. And there's no precedent for what's happening. Like, there's no precedent at, like, yes, Jack won the Masters in 86 when he was in his 40s, but dude, Tiger is swinging the club faster than any professional in the world currently. That makes no sense. That includes Dustin Johnson, who is a freak of fucking nature.
And you look at the media coverage, as we were saying those few weeks ago, and saying that all the media coverage on golf was bad. There wasn't that much. And since last weekend, when he came in second in that tournament, look how much it's ramped up this week. It has gone like tenfold just from him playing well.
Oh,
The coverage that golf is getting. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable, man. But it's
like
him.
I said, I actually scrolled down to the golf section on my ESPN app today to check where he was. I don't ever scroll down to the golf section on my ESPN app, guys. It's never visited for me. But Tiger's in the mix, so it's going to be visited. I'm still going to sit on my take from a couple weeks ago that we're talking about, that all this like boosting coverage, I feel like bolsters my point that when he's gone, this is eventually bad for golf. I'm not saying they shouldn't hang on to it for this year. They're going to get great ratings for the Masters. Somehow he's now like 8-1 odds to win the Masters, which is absurd. But he's like the leading odds to win the Masters right now. I think that's going to be great for the Masters this year. I do think that's still bad for golf in the future whenever he leaves.
Absolutely, 100%. And in terms of what you're talking about him being an 8-1 favorite in Vegas currently for the Masters, I mean, I think if you have any sort of decent opportunity to lay money on the field, you have to do it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because as good as he is, like, he's one man, and what you're saying is it sounds okay, but it also assumes that what he's doing isn't sustainable. And I don't think that's illogical. I think what he's doing currently, while amazing, is something that his back is not going to be able to sustain. And I don't think I'm saying anything that's even close to absurd.
No, I mean, like, I don't know. My brother keeps saying that he expects him to win a major this year and have like 10 top 10 finishes this year. And I don't see it happening. I don't see him sustaining it. I think that he is back comparatively to where he was 2 years ago, which was not playing or coming on the court or coming on the like course and then having to like walk off after hole 6 because he tweaks his back. Like, yes, he's back. It's great to see him playing again. I don't think he's back to competing for majors every year.
Right.
I think he's probably going to give us something special at Augusta, and then I still expect him to miss 2 of the last 3 cuts at the majors.
Would it surprise you more if he won a major this season or if he had to walk off the golf course mid-round in a major?
Won a major.
I would be more amazed by a major.
I agree. And I sort of think that like speaks to the point that we're at with him currently, right? And I love Tiger. That's the thing. There's no way to have a discussion about what he's doing not being sustainable and sound like someone who's hating on Tiger. But I think that that's unfair to me. He's amazing. I think what he's doing is incredible. And like I said at the beginning of the discussion, there's no precedent for it. I suspect that they're going to make that golf course a whole lot harder over the course of the next 3 days. And as they do that, I think that continues to inure to his benefit. And assuming that he can get out tomorrow in 70 or better, they're going to shatter every single ratings record for a non-major in history. I really believe that, both Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Why do you think that them moving the golf course around, changing it around, it proves in his favor?
Oh, it's familiarity, man.
Because he's been there before?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to keep in mind, man, Bay Hill is 11 miles from where Tiger Woods lives. He's staying in his own house. He's driving his own car. He's doing his own thing, and it's a golf course that he loves. And so, I mean, I think that there's just a lot to like about him this week. And again, like, could you make the same argument about Augusta? Absolutely. But I do think we're at a point where the field has caught up to him a little bit, and maybe he'll prove me wrong. And him proving me wrong will be a testament to his greatness and will quite honestly help golf immensely. That's something that anyone who is a fan of golf should sort of be rooting for at this point. But also, I think what Will Mosley is saying is very true, and that's that this is probably not sustainable, and continually relying on him to be the man to carry the industry is sort of an inefficient way to run your business model. Relying on one person in any business is probably never the smartest way to go about it, right? A la Wofford, Jerry Richardson.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
If you just said he's the one who's driving the ball the farthest, hitting it the hardest, with his like slew of injuries, including his back and knees or whatever else it's happened to him, there's no way that you can sustain that.
It makes no sense at all, man.
Yeah.
It makes literally no sense at all that he can swing a golf club faster than Dustin Johnson can right now. It makes no sense. And again, I don't want to sit here for minutes on end and be confused by what he's doing, but it's hard to explain how someone with that body can be doing what he is doing currently. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And like, that's kind of the point that we're at with him right now. I think it's going to be amazing to watch, and it's fun for me. It should be fun for all of us because we're all going to watch. Saturday and Sunday could be incredible sports television, and that's something that everyone's going to want to be a part of. And there's one reason for that, and that's him. But yeah, what happens when it ends, or what happens when the back problems come back and he has to walk off a golf course again? And again, I really hope he doesn't have to do that. It seems like maybe something has clicked this time, but it's definitely not a stretch of the imagination to believe that what he's doing is not sustainable in a significant way. And so with that said, like, I think that the chances that people have continually to sort of lay money elsewhere, like, that's nothing against Tiger. I just think that sort of speaks to the fact that the field has finally caught up to him.
Yeah, definitely agree. That being said, I would love to be wearing red on Sunday and cheering along with him come the Masters. It'd be exciting television. I think we all want to watch. But like I said, I've told my brother a million times, I hope I eat my words when I come to Tiger, but I just don't see him being back ever.
Yeah. Ever's a long time, man. Ever's a really long time. And I think it'll be interesting to see. And I think that we all feel that way. The thing that we love about him is that we all want to wear red and we want to root for him because he plays the game a different way than other people do. And he's just different for a million fucking reasons than everyone else out there. And that's fun and that's interesting and that's dynamic. And I think that we need to enjoy this. I think we need to enjoy it a lot because, again, I mean, what he's beginning to do is sort of unprecedented. And so I just don't see how we can continue to be that unprecedented over and over again. And so we'll sit back and we'll enjoy what he's doing and we'll sort of see how it goes. But everything that you say about it being excited about Tiger is true. And everything mostly saying about it not being sustainable is true also. Cool.
All right. We go in college basketball or free agency?
Hold on 1 second. I need to stand for a minute.
You're good.
Whatever you guys want to do next is fine. Y'all decide because you guys are really going to lead the way on the NCAA until we get to, things that are sort of tangential to that.
Yeah, I'm cool with going ahead and with free agency because I just scrolled down the ESPN free agency list right now, and I didn't realize a lot of shit happened. Like the fucking Bills. What a QB duo they have now. Signed McCarron to go along with Nathan Peterman.
Yep.
That's
it doesn't matter to me. I think we have to hit on March Madness.
We definitely have to hit on March Madness, but I think that was only like when we trim that down, man, that'll be 15 minutes what we just did.
Yeah.
20, right?
So I don't care what order we go in.
Yeah. I'm just trying to scroll through like all of these. I mean, when it comes to the Panthers, the only thing Don Terry Poe.
You guys get rid of Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah, but I don't think that was a huge mistake or anything. I think that was a good move.
I will say this: I don't mind doing the NFL first in terms of order, but the NFL segment should be shorter than the NCAA.
Agreed. That's why I wanted to go ahead and go through it because with the NCAA, we also it's almost 4 subjects. Like we'll have this, and then we'll kind of have like a little bit on the actual tournament, and then that'll I think lead into us talking about like I don't know, whatever else we want to talk about.
Wait, so you're saying you don't want to take a segment break after the NFL discussion?
No. We can take a segment break after like whatever we need, or like after the NFL before we do NCAA.
I mean, quite honestly, man, I'll bring us back into show and hit it your way because this is sort of your thing. I don't really have a lot to say. I don't mean that in
NFL.
I mean, I could talk about the Eagles, and I could sort of make
dude,
that and sort of
that's what we're here for, man. You tell us about the Eagles. I want Mac to talk about the Browns. I'm going to talk about like Jordy Nelson fucking apparently signing with the Raiders to go into his career.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I think the more valuable discussion there is sort of just like, holy fuck, like we give way more. I think we give way more shit. Let's just get into it. Let's make it organic. Yep. We're doing well. Yep. All right, we'll break for 5 seconds, and I'll bring us back. Welcome back, friends, from the Nosebleeds podcast. My name is Andrew Levin. I'm here with Will Mosley and Mac Young, who are good friends. We shoot the shit. We talk a little sports also, and I guess there's stuff going on in the NFL right now, right? Like, I'm not the biggest NFL guy in the world, so like I'll let Will Mosley and Mac sort of start. But go Eagles, right?
I mean, I guess. I mean, the Browns, I feel, are the real winners this offseason, though. You know, I feel like they're just killing it. Like, I think Cleveland honestly has won the offseason so far, signing the people they have in the situation that they was in, and then they got hit with a bombshell of their best player in franchise history, possibly retiring.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's the gut right there. You get possibly retired. Yeah, he retired yesterday, which is arguably the best left tackle in NFL history. Okay, and I think you can argue that.
That's kind of a lame conversation to me, but also your team is officially completely irrelevant. You have no significant players on your roster, right?
I don't know. No, they just like
no. I just think they're young, and it's like it's definitely. I don't want to get into like you have to like tank. I don't want to get into the tanking thing, but like they've just. With the things they've done this offseason, they have made the moves that they need to make to work towards getting better. They have gotten rid of Deshaun Kaiser. They've gotten a quarterback who at least somewhat knows what he's doing in Tyrod Taylor. They've gotten
Tyrod Taylor threw for 79 yards in the last football game he played.
Yeah, but he's had
I will
other
defend
good,
Tyrod
decent
Taylor
seasons.
till I
Decent
die. That
Okay,
is ridiculous.
Fine, and that's both of you being ridiculous fanboys.
They're
because
going-
they
No,
have to
you
take
can't
second
tell me that
away from
Tyrod
Browns.
Taylor is not better than half of the quarterbacks that are starting in the league right now, which is an improvement from a rookie who sucked, who was a bad draft pick. So
And
Again,
guess what they're
obviously
going to
a
go for
great
in the
signing.
draft?
They didn't have that many people who were just going to sign with the Browns. They didn't have that much they were willing to trade to give up to get one of these high quarterbacks that were touted this offseason. So what did they do? They went out and they signed the best quarterback that they could get, and they got probably above the 50th percentile quarterback in the NFL, who is probably their best option while they're working and drafting new pieces. They have 11,000 picks in the first 2 rounds this year, man.
And they're
Not going to be good
one
next year, but I do think
quarterback.
Tyrod Taylor is a good signing for the amount of money they got him for.
Matt,
He
do you
gives
have
you a reason. He gives you a reason to not start your rookie like the first 5 games of the season, which is what the Browns have had to do since I can even remember. They've every time they draft a rookie quarterback in the first round, that guy ends up starting. He ends up shitting the bed. This
Fine,
at least gives Sam Darnold or whoever else they pick. If you can't tell, I might have an opinion on who I think they should get. At least gives them some time to develop him, have someone who knows, who's been in the NFL long enough, has seen it, has played in it, has played well and badly, and give him advice on what's going on.
Mac,
I don't
have
think
a
it's a bad
question.
move.
What are you doing with those 1 and 4 picks now that you just said Sam fucking Darnold? What is your ideal 1 and 4 picks from the Browns this year?
I think you need Sam Darnold is just a safe quarterback pick, man. He's got
At the 1 or the
USC.
4, you think he is one of the 4 best players coming out of the draft this year? He's worth that?
The USC quarterback.
Fuck it, dude. You're going to be bad next year probably anyway, so go ahead. You have Tyrod Taylor for the next 2 years. Don't waste it on Sam Darnold.
Dude, they're getting
until another quarterback's coming out. Or I would trade down. You could catch just as good of a quarterback as Sam Darnold at the 9th pick as you can the 4th or the 1st.
It's laughable that you think that Tyrod Taylor is a difference maker in the NFL, dude. It's laughable.
I did not say he's a difference maker in the NFL at all. I said that he is better than half. He is in the top half of the quarterbacks in the NFL that are starting right now. I don't think that's a stretch at all.
Fine. So even if that's so, how does it benefit an organization like Cleveland's to play him?
Because what are they going to play? Sam Darnold for the first 5 games, a rookie who's going to get overwhelmed like they've done time after time. That's what Mac was just talking about. You can't bring rookies in and expect them to change your team. Give your team a chance to grow with a quarterback who's decent, who you can put out there, who can not fuck up, which he doesn't fuck up. You can shit on him all you want, but he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, and he does win some games, and that's all you're asking him to do for the next 2 seasons until you build a team around him, and then you possibly go land your big quarterback. But he's not costing you a lot of money right now, and he's going to give you a decent amount of the work for the amount of money he's costing you.
Fine.
They're going with. I still think they're going to pick quarterback and then go for Minka Fitzpatrick if he's available.
God, that is I would. I don't know.
Would you go for Saquon? I wouldn't.
I mean,
they need so much more than just a running back when they have Duke Johnson and now Carlos Hyde, who are just
I agree.
slightly
I agree.
above average running backs.
You don't draft Saquon. I think you trade that first number 1 overall pick. You can catch, like I said, I think that all of the quarterbacks, the top 5 quarterbacks,
there's a sucker out there, man. I mean, let's just be honest. That's the NFL, right? There's 4 teams that have quarterbacks and the rest don't. So everyone's willing to trade up. That's what I'm saying.
So I think you can deal that number 1 overall pick. I think this draft is deeper than it is the cream of the crop at the top. I don't know if these top quarterbacks are worth it. And so I think if you're the Browns, the smart thing to do would be to trade away that pick, move down in the draft, let some other team draft a Sam Darnold or that kid from UCLA, Josh Rosen, or Baker Mayfield or somebody. Get them out of the way. Go to next year, try to get somebody. Trade them for next year's first round pick. Do something where you're going to benefit later. I don't think that first round pick is going to be worth it if you're going to take a quarterback for the Browns this year, especially with Tyrod Taylor. Because what I see the Browns doing is drafting fucking Josh Allen from Wyoming and then starting him over Tyrod Taylor in game 2, and then you ruin everyone's career.
And I get that. And again, I don't mean to just sit here and sort of harp on the Tyrod Taylor point. I realize we're trying to have like a better discussion than that here. I'm just curious, like, Will, in your opinion, and I guess Mac too, like Tyrod Taylor, is he closer to Blake Bortles or is he closer to Alex Smith if you say he doesn't make mistakes? Because I think he's a whole lot closer to Blake Bortles.
He is worthy of a starting spot in the NFL.
I think he's worse than Alex Smith and better than Blake Bortles. I think he falls pretty close to dead in between those two players, man. And I think Blake Bortles can apparently get you to an NFC championship or AFC championship. So why is that a knock? Even because if you say he's closer to Blake Bortles, you literally just told me he's close to a quarterback that just played in the AFC championship game.
Fine.
And what I'm saying is you build a team around him and then you get a serviceable quarterback like Tyrod, a serviceable guy, not a game changer, a serviceable dude.
You're assuming, though, that the Cleveland Browns are going to be able to build a roster well enough to hide that big of an inefficiency. I understand they're going to be drafting a quarterback.
What, 4 years ago you wouldn't have said that?
One of the best lines in the NFL.
4 years ago, what would we have said about the Jaguars being in the AFC Championship? Would we have not laughed like we do about the Browns? Because we would have. The only thing before this year that the Jacksonville Jaguars ever had was David Garrard's stupid fedora.
I get that. And I just think that personally, I believe a lot more in the dysfunction of Cleveland than I do Tom Coughlin and Jacksonville. It's just how I feel. I'm not saying there's any logic behind it.
What if Tom Coughlin would have gone to Cleveland?
I mean, Tom Coughlin isn't the deal to me. It's ownership, man. And Matt can speak to it a lot more than I can, but they're dysfunctional, dude. We can sit here all day. They've had 1 million fucking first-round picks, and you're going to sit here and tell me they're going to hit on every single one this year, and suddenly that's going to turn it around?
No, I just told you I think that they're going to draft Josh Allen number 1 overall and ruin everybody's career.
I love it, dude, and I agree.
But, I hope that they don't, and I think that what they've done this offseason is the most impressive offseason of most of the teams. I think they've had one of the most productive off seasons, fixing holes that they had, cutting players that they had to, trading them when they had to, and doing the right moves so far.
Understood. Now, and as Mac,
I expect them to keep that up? Not necessarily, because I didn't expect them to do it so far. Right. But I mean, I didn't expect them to do it this far. So I don't know. Maybe they're going to start drafting the right players. Maybe they'll trade down, somehow find somebody else. Maybe they'll draft out of number 1 down to number 2, grab another second-round pick, get Saquon or somebody, and be fine. They won't do that, but they could.
But they won't, because it's the Cleveland Browns. And so I will say this, dude, what else, right? What else is interesting to you, I guess? Anything else from this NFL free agency period? I feel like a lot has happened, and I really don't mean to shit on you guys' NFL parade. I just don't. I mean,
all of the mediocre quarterbacks in the NFL have new homes.
And those would be where for someone like myself who it's March.
So you got Kirk Cousins is on the Vikings now.
Right, yes. And they're a Super Bowl contender. Easily.
Also, Trevor Siemian is on the Vikings now as the backup.
That's a huge move there.
I know.
You got Case Keenum on the Broncos, which definitely is better than what they had. I still think, personally, even though he had a fantastic season last year, I still think he needs to prove it at a different team to show how good he is.
You got Teddy Bridgewater at the Jets.
Is he their starter?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not officially, but he will be.
Yeah. AJ McCarron's at the Bills now with Nathan Peterman, which, that's gross.
I mean, he may be, honestly, I'm not even kidding. He may be worse at the quarterback position than an actual chair that can just sort of receive the football and be sacked 3 times.
Have we seen him play?
Peterman, he threw 5
interceptions in the first round.
Not Peterman.
AJ McCarron. I don't know. I think it speaks to the fact that he hasn't ever played.
No, what the again, and we finish here, right? What the AJ McCarron deal, him ending up in Buffalo means is that your organization, Mac, is dysfunctional as shit. Because the league approved him to be traded to the Cleveland Browns at the trade deadline this last season, and because your team didn't file the paperwork correctly, no AJ McCarron.
First off, let's not take full blame away from Cincinnati on that. Let's just blame all of Ohio for that fuck up.
Ouch.
I mean, and God, but dude, honestly, let's be honest. Is there a less regal sports trade in the universe than being traded from a franchise in Cincinnati to a franchise in Cleveland? Because that's bold. That's bold in its mediocrity, dude.
You're hitting me hard.
Yeah,
and I don't think you're wrong. Is the problem?
No. What I'm saying is that compared to the Miamis, the Los Angeleses, the New Yorks of the world, dude,
these are all huge markets. Yeah, where Ohio is not.
And so
another thing that I thought was super interesting, I think your Giants might be decent this year. Oh, your brother's Giants. Well, not decent this year. I just think that they've definitely made the right moves to make their line better, which definitely
What are you
helps
talking
out
about,
Eli.
man? Odell Beckham's out there smoking blunts with French models, man.
Are we not?
He'll still be fucking great during the season.
You're not doing that, though? You're not doing that? Because
he's still going to have a great season.
And what are you doing with that, man? And I don't mean this to you, Will, because I know you don't give a fuck. But, dude, what the fuck are people doing with that anymore? Like, this guy is young, handsome, and wealthy, dude. Like, what else would you expect him to be doing in his offseason, in his free time?
I agree. And I think it's bullshit. I also think that that's probably going to cost him a couple million, if not his job in New York.
Fine, dude. And you don't think that 31 other teams, including one other one in New York City, is going to line up to fucking sign him?
No, I think that that's exactly what everyone wants. I think he's going to go to L.A. and just go to the Rams and just have, like, catch 180 touchdowns out there and just love living life smoking blunts out in California and be happy. If New York is dumb enough to, like, let him go because of this, but it seems like something that an NFL franchise would be dumb enough to do. This is like something that an NFL franchise would be stupid enough to do, would to be like, we can't trust this guy on a long term. He's going to get in trouble or something because of this behavior, and they're not going to pay him the money that he wants. And then some other team's going to be like, yeah, we'll give you everything.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I get that. And I think what I would say is, like, we've gotten to a point where the baseball season is literally at the starting line. We couldn't be fucking further away from the starting line in the NFL right now. And we're sitting here talking about these transactions because it's more interesting to us now than actual sports that are going on.
I mean, it is
a big couple days.
Lacking in the offseason. That's why I'm a big NBA fan, because I do like the fact that I can talk NBA year round even when the season's not on. And I trash football for that a lot. But this was a strong free agency beginning. There's a really strong free agency.
It's only been like 4 days.
Like, moving around, a lot of contract signing. Did a decent job about at least, like, getting my mind back on thinking about what teams look like in the NFL. Like you said, when it is March. Like in early March, for me to be thinking, what are the Buffalo Bills going to be looking like next year? Are they going to be trotting Nathan Peterman out there? Like, why is that thought going through my head? Props to the NFL. Decent offseason so far.
Yeah, but also, like, the fact that you're thinking about Nathan Peterman at all probably says something about how uninteresting everything else. Or is it more, okay, that's a good, do you, like, put that up on the poll, dude? You think is it more... The fact that we're talking about the NFL, like, is that more about it being interesting or more about everything else being unfucking interesting?
No, I'd say that it's being interesting, man. There's a lot of shit going on right now. I mean, like, we've already hit on Tiger, the, like, NCAA tournament. I think the NBA has like, what, 14 games left in the season? Like, that's heating up. I think there's plenty interesting going on, and for my eyeballs to be, like, clicking on ESPN and checking on the NFL, like, I think that says more about the NFL just having a strong all season. A lot of people are moving around. I mean, it's not to say that this doesn't usually happen, but it's just seemed like a decent amount of teams shook up. Like he said, the most uninteresting franchise in history of sports, the Cleveland Browns, had me checking who they were signing. So that says something.
Yeah, it absolutely says something. And dude, I just want to talk about the Yankees, and you guys are never gonna fucking let me. All right, that was good. That was good. All right, March Madness.
Also, if you want to talk baseball, I am down to talk baseball.
What's up?
If we ever get to talk about baseball, I am down to talking about baseball.
I mean,
I'm one of the few who still enjoys it. So down the road.
We'll get into baseball when it's time.
Dude, my fucking God.
What?
My fucking thing stopped. Like my recording stopped recording. So I don't even know, like everything might be lost. I literally made sure it was going and everything several times and then it stopped.
Do you know how long ago it stopped?
I don't even know how to tell.
Hold on. This is not a big deal. It is a little, it's not going to sound as good, but it just takes me a lot longer because I did do it with mine. Did the same thing last week and I didn't notice it until the other 2 days ago when I started putting shit together. Mine did the same thing. My internet clocked out for a second, so it stopped my GarageBand. But I just went into your audio, which still could vaguely hear mine. And every time I talked, I just raised the volume all the way up until I stopped talking and then put it back down when you started talking. So it just takes me a while.
Dude, I'm seriously so sorry. Like, I know this has happened before, but I've been really careful about checking it.
No worries, dude. So when you are ready, hit record again.
Yeah, I have already.
Okay. And I'll just smash them together, and then it'll just take me a little bit longer.
I'm so sorry, man.
It happens. It happened to me last week, and there's nothing you can do about it. Your computer just freezes or whatever.
When we get into NCAA talk here, what direction do we want to go with it? Do we want to talk about like chronologically? Do we want to talk about the seeding and then talk about the games that are going on / what we're thinking that way, or do we want to talk about some of the games and then try to expand into the bigger issue? Because I was originally thinking expand into the bigger issue, but chronologically, I just feel like it makes more sense to go with like talking about what the seeding was and why we think that, and like possibly the NCAA FBI stuff if we want to, and then everything, and then be like, all right, and now the actual tournament, and then talk about like what's actually happening in it and the games that are being played and who we think is going to be the Final Four and winning it or whatever.
I would say unless like I'm fine to go in that order. I think if we do seeding, make it pretty brief.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the seeding thing is mainly to talk about like Arizona being a 4 seed in the FBI investigation, the teams that were out.
Yeah. Because I just don't want to get too into whether someone should be a 2 or 3.
Well, no, because it's already happening now, so it doesn't matter anymore. But
yeah, that's where I'm getting at.
The seeding thing is just to get into the Arizona being a 4 seed and being punished, and the possibility of like them winning, like I was talking about the other day.
Okay, that's fine.
That's that type.
But then
of
I
stuff.
kind of want to go into bigger picture, the tournament, what games happened today, maybe who you see as a Cinderella, just like your usual.
All right,
after we go through the FBI.
All right, just a rundown before we start. Games that happened today: Ohio State beat South Dakota State. Gonzaga won.
Chicago beat Miami
on that last second 3. Yep.
Big
Tennessee
time.
Won. Texas Tech won. F. Austin's a really good game that's happening. Kansas beat Penn. Seton Hall beat NC State. Rhode Island knocked out Oklahoma, and Duke won.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know, if you have – I don't know. If you did a bracket and you want to show like your big Cinderella team or whatever.
I mean, let's just go with here. Let's go with this. Let's go once we get into like the talking about the games. Let's just Andrew, do you have a bracket up in front of you?
Fuck no, dude. I don't have a bracket up in front of me. This championship's not going to mean shit in 3 years, dude.
All right, cool. Well, figure out who you think is going to be the Final Four.
Okay. Who wears the prettiest uniforms? Actually, which coaches have the most suspiciously dark hair? That's my final four.
I
Bill
don't know.
Self.
Calipari's pulling one of those classic ones where like either he recruits
It's
really
so
really
shiny.
well, and you're like, man, he's the best recruiter, or he has a down recruiting year, and they're like, man, this is one of Calipari's best years coaching, and it's
That's
just
what
like,
I'm
god
saying,
damn,
dude.
man, he
That's what
really
I'm
lives a
saying.
sweet life out there, doesn't he?
Where does
But I
it,
mean,
dude? It's
Ca-
just like, yeah, I get it, man.
Calipari's
just
a
get into
5
it.
seed, Arizona's a 4 seed. They're both
Let's
like
just get in it.
scary, but they're in the same side. But let's roll with it.
I mean, like Max said, dude, where does it start? Where does it end? This is from the Nosebleeds podcast, and my name is Andrew Levin. Mac Young, living the life in Colorado. Will Mosley, somewhere else in South Carolina, right? Where are you, Will?
Inman,
Right.
the hustling, bustling city of Inman, South Carolina.
And somehow yet we could speak to each other and see each other, see how sad Mac is about having to talk about his Browns. And it's March. That could mean, I guess, only one thing this year, and that's a bunch of irrelevant college basketball that really isn't going to matter in 3 years. And I hear Mac and Will have a lot to say about it.
Whoa. Wait, what did you just say about March Madness? That it's like unforgettable? That it's irrelevant?
This year, it's irrelevant.
Because you think just because of the FBI investigations? Or do you think it's always irrelevant?
No, I think this year it's particularly irrelevant because of the FBI allegations. And sort of as we just move along here, just gotta, we sometimes it's just fine to like let the listener behind the curtain a little bit, I think. And I'm just having the worst like technical difficulties right now ever. I don't understand why my recording device keeps cutting out on me. So hopefully Mac, like being the brilliant guy he can salvage this. But at this point, I'm just sort of staring at my computer, making sure that like my recording keeps going. And so I can't see you guys really at all, but we'll let you guys take the lead here. And
That's fair enough. Because we can stop with this slander about the NCAA tournament being irrelevant, even if the titles are going to get wiped. Because, like I said, and like anyone who can remember, like I'm not going to forget Reggie Bush's Heisman. I'm not going to forget Louisville winning the national championship after Kevin Ware snaps his leg into a million pieces. I'm not going to forget those moments just because there's going to be some FBI allegations over something that we all know is happening and all of us are okay with happening. Like that's the thing with me. It's like we all know that the best players are going to get paid to go to these big schools. That's something we're all okay with. We've squared that circle morally. The NCAA is the only people that have a problem with it. And so them coming out and being like, these people are breaking an NCAA rule, we're going to take their championship away over something that none of us gave a fuck about. Like that's not going to take anything away. So nothing's being removed. So I think the championship still matters just as much.
I mean, I think increasingly over the last 15 years, these championships in college sports period have sort of began to mean less and less. And I'm not one of these people who's going to sit here and be like, oh, it's not in the spirit of amateurism, because of course it's not in the fucking spirit of amateurism. All these kids are making money, and they should be, for that matter. I'm the person who defends the athlete, but I mean, at the same time, Will, like these kids aren't they're invested in themselves and their future, and I don't blame them for that. But we can't sit here anymore and make it seem like this is some game of loyalty anymore, because it's just not.
I think it's pretty clear that, like, even though we all agree that they should be paid, the fact is that's still against the law. So there has to be some repercussions for all the other shit, the gifts, the boosters, the strippers, or whatever parties they've had and cars that have been bought for them. That's against the law. So there still has to be some repercussion for what is going on.
Cool. Slap them on the wrist and tell them they can't do it again.
I mean, I agree that the taking away a national championship, taking away an award can be a lot. But do you see any other like punishment? Do you really think what would a slap on the wrist be? If you think that's all they need?
There's not. That's my point. Is there's no punishment here. Like, to do what you're doing. That's literally all the NCAA can do is be like, we're going to take our banner back. No one gives a fuck about that. Like, no one cares if the NCAA retroactively takes something back. If Virginia Tech wins the national championship and they're like, hey, guess what? We're going to take our banner back. Guess what? I'm still going to walk around saying Virginia Tech was national champions. But it doesn't matter. You're not going to erase that memory from me. So there's no punishment you can give me. And the most that you can do from the NCAA is take your fucking banner back and find a school for it afterwards. So you're just hurting future athletes that they could possibly get, or find a program so that the athletes that are already there don't get to go to postseason play. Like, that's not fair to those athletes. So the only thing you can do is take it away, which you can't.
Okay, fine. It's not fair to those athletes, and it's also not fair under the current rules. It's also not fair to be paying the athletes either, especially hundreds of thousands of dollars. I have no fucking problem whatsoever with these kids making some sort of money. I really don't. I don't even have a problem with boosters giving them, slipping them hundreds every once in a while. Allegedly, though, there are college coaches, or there's one particular coach out there allegedly right now who offered a student more than $100,000 to play for him for 1 year. That is not an insignificant contract in any way, shape, or form.
Nah, but that's a steal for what DeAndre ATM would have made if he'd have gone into the draft and been able to.
Fine, and I don't disagree with that at all, but dude, of course everyone's making money off this, but
is that a profit for Arizona?
What do you mean?
I mean, they're paying him this much money. Are they going to get a return on that investment?
I mean, being a 4 seed in the tournament, if they even make the Elite Eight, they've already guaranteed that money back, man.
Yeah.
The money that you make making the tournament, they won a Pac-12 championship this year. They easily made $100,000 winning that Pac-12 championship and getting the seed that they did. And
is that all due to DeAndre? Mr.
And
ATM?
everyone just watching their games, going to their games to see possibly the number 1 overall pick in the draft. They're benefiting off of it. And what else are they supposed to do, man? Somebody's going to get him. Somebody's going to pay that to him. So I have no beef with the University of Arizona being the people that paid that to him. I have no grudge against them for it. I have no grudge against Sean Miller allegedly paying him for this, because allegedly everyone for a long time has gotten paid. And if the NCAA would fix their problem, then they wouldn't have players making $100,000 contracts, man. DeAndre ATM would not have gotten $100,000 allegedly if he could have just gone straight into the NBA draft and played a year in the G League, or even just gone straight into the league this year.
And
he would have, and that would have been fine. And if he chose to go to the NCAA, then yes, you might be able to figure out a punishment after that if you give him the option to be out of there, or the option to make money off his own name or something. But the way they have it set up, like we've talked about, like we've bashed the NCAA before, sets up teams to do immoral things like this, and somebody's going to do it. So I have no problem with the University of Arizona, Sean Miller, or DeAndre Ayton profiting off of his skill.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. But you were saying before that you feel like the NCAA has this big problem to address. That big problem, in your opinion, is what?
The fact that they're the only company that all of their money is made off their unpaid interns. That's not right. That's not a system that's going to continue to work. These players, the ones that get injured, that don't get the money, that are going to get the money. DeAndre Ayton tears his Achilles in the NCAA tournament this year. That cuts his career earnings possibly just completely. Because an Achilles is hard to come back from, and it's decently easy to rupture when you're a basketball player coming down around all those ankles. So, I mean, you're telling me that DeAndre Ayton, who possibly could just go out in this tournament and then never come back the same player, never get the multiple millions of dollars that he's probably going to get. And yeah, he probably is going to need that $100,000 that he got, allegedly.
But you're also living in a world, though, where he doesn't have a multi-million-dollar insurance policy. That matters. That's the reason.
Not all of them do, though, man. Not all of these great young players do have this multi-million-dollar insurance policy to help them out. And no, the NCAA does not insure athletes that well.
Right. I'm sure he went out and got himself of which
What did he use to go out and get that insurance plan, Andrew? That $100,000. Do you think DeAndre Ayton was just walking around for enough to have that big of an insurance policy? Like, do you think every kid that just is a good basketball player, like, we can be honest with it, man. Like, basketball is a very like urban sport. Not all the kids that play basketball that are coming out of here are going to be like super wealthy making the league, and that's the reason they're out there doing it. So I'm not going to bash them when the NCAA is like, you have to go to a college that costs a shit ton of money. So we're going to go ahead and give that to you for free. Oh, yeah. And then you're also risking multiple millions of dollars by just like coming and playing in the NCAA instead of just like sitting out or going to Europe and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You're
and the fact of the
all of
matter
their
is,
money just to do this. Yeah, I think that those kids should be paid. And I don't have a problem with DeAndre Ayton getting that money because, yeah, I do think that insurance policy you're talking about, he didn't just pay with that from like working at Food Line in high school, man. Like that money came from somewhere, and yeah, that money might have come from Arizona, but I'm fine with that.
Again, you need to put into context that only like less than 1% of these student athletes are actually going into the next level to make the big bucks like NBA or NFL. Some of them are going to go to Europe, but most of them, this is their only shot to like would be their only shot to really make in the current system to really make any money off the game that they love and that they're like good at.
Again, I don't have a single problem at all with him trying to make money off of his God-given talent. I don't have any problem with that at all. So what are we gonna do then? Like we're gonna pay the DeAndre Aytons of the world $100,000 every year, and
no, let him into the fucking league. Just I'm cool with tearing down NCAA men's basketball and giving me a really good G League to watch every night. I will watch. Dude, there were like 100,000 people Facebook simultaneously watching Zion Williamson versus fucking Lonzo Ball's little brother
LaMelo.
This summer when we were in New Zealand. There were 100,000 people live streaming that on Facebook, and it was in Las Vegas and the late game. So it was like 1 a.m. on the East Coast, and people were still streaming that. So don't tell me that like people aren't going to watch these other leagues just because kids aren't going to like college anymore. Like we're going to watch good basketball players wherever they are. Zion Williamson already has 1 million like Instagram followers who watch his Instagram dunks every day.
He's on SportsCenter like once a week.
Players. So yeah, just break down NCAA basketball. You don't need it. Do the European thing. For the sports that you can physically get developed in time to not have to go to college, aka soccer, baseball, basketball, those sports where you're fully developed enough to play with the other players at 18, yeah, let them do it. Football, obviously, you're not going to break down NCAA football because you need that. So, yeah, the players who can profit, figure out a way to let them profit off their name. I'm not saying you should be paying them like down contracts of $100,000, but I mean, that's also a different sport where I don't think that one player can change completely everything that's going on in your like organization like basketball can. If LeBron James had to go to college and Ohio State signed him, even if Ohio State had 9 of me and Mac on their team, they'd win a national championship, and that would all be because of LeBron. And if LeBron could not make any money that year because he was an amateur, that's bullshit.
Yeah, dude, I agree. The whole thing is bullshit, and I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. I just think that, like, under the current system, I'm not really sure why we're giving a whole lot of value to watching something that is sort of going to be completely discredited, probably in a few years. I don't
see it being discredited, man. Like I think like I don't see how it's discredited. That's what I'm saying. Like, because I don't have a problem with DeAndre Ayton. You're telling me if DeAndre Ayton wins this national championship, you're going to look back on it and be like, well, he got paid. Like, no. That's really what you're going to be like. Like, oh, no, Arizona didn't win that national championship. He didn't put up like 32 and 20 in the final game or something ridiculous like he could. Like, no. He took $100,000. That didn't happen. No, I'm going to remember that. But I mean, to your point of like what can you do to punish him? I think we're seeing this year what you can do to punish teams that the NCAA thinks are getting looked at. Arizona was like a number 1 and number 2 ranked team all season, and they're a 4 seed in their tournament. They have to play a really hot Kentucky team and then face the number 1 overall seed and then Cincinnati on their way just to the Final Four. Like, that's tough. Those are a lot of tough matchups for a team that should have probably been a 2 seed. There are 3 teams on the outside looking in. USC is playing in the freaking NIT right now with Wofford when they came in second in the Pac-12 in the regular season and in their conference tourney. Like that's your punishment. You kick teams out of there because you don't want people talking about the FBI investigation during your tournament. And sure enough, the past 3 days, everyone has been talking about the FBI and everything when they talk about college basketball. And today, the tournament starts. And guess what? No one's talking about that anymore.
Yeah, it's out by the wayside.
Chicago hitting the last second 3 and beating Miami.
And March Madness is back, baby.
And
and all the games have been close.
Fucking baby. Don't baby me, dude. Don't baby me.
Oh, it's back, baby.
And so, oh, God, the both of you, dude. Come on.
Come on, baby.
Right. And so on the court, you think what? Well, you think what on the court?
What? I don't know. I really do think Arizona has a vengeance. I'm big on the vengeance teams. Arizona has some beef. I would love to see them make a run at it. I think Villanova could probably get back to the national championship, and I think North Carolina could too. Mac Young?
I mean, I agree. My Final Four was I think Virginia's going to win. They're just the team seems to be the most put together from offense and defense.
They're Wofford of Division I.
And they've been playing well, man, and they're killing it.
Is it Wofford of Division I?
Well, we're Division I 2A. Let's not give ourselves too much credit.
Fair enough.
And then Cincinnati is a similar team to them. So I think if those two meet in the Elite Eight, that'll actually be a really interesting game to watch.
Yeah,
then you have you said, that fucking that side of the bracket is pretty wild. To think that you can have Kentucky, Arizona, Cincinnati, UVA, all be going head to Tennessee.
I was going to see how long it took anybody to give any respect to Tennessee.
They had a great end of the year.
I mean, they had a great end of the year, but let's get serious.
Tennessee hot right now, bro.
About being their side of the East, their side of the SEC champions. Regular season. I don't have them
going very far, but they have the ability to prove me wrong and be
I think they'll beat Loyola Chicago, but then I think they'll lose to either Texas or Cincinnati, who they have to play in the next round there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have them going to the Sweet 16, but yeah, I mean, I think that I have my Final Four as I got UNC, Arizona, Villanova, and Michigan State, actually. That's a really good Sweet 16 matchup that obviously freaking Kornheiser's old ass is super excited about. Duke, Michigan State, getting all jacked up for the Blue Bloods.
It'll be a good game for sure. I mean, I kind of went a different direction, went UVA, Michigan, Nova, and Kansas. But I think Michigan's going to come out of that side of the bracket. They're playing super well right now. Yeah, I don't see UNC making to the Final Four.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see them either losing to Michigan or winning it all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere in between those two.
They're just super streaky, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either way. UNC, I think, has the talent. I mean, they have kids who have been on that team for 11,000 years, somehow still seniors. But yeah, I mean, I think that they could lose to Michigan. Heck, they could lose to Providence in the second round. But I also do think that they could win the national championship.
I agree.
And that's the scary thing about North Carolina there. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a year that Duke could do that, though.
No, definitely not. Doesn't feel like a year that Duke could do it at all. They lost to St. John's, man.
I mean, they lost to St. John's. I do think that if Bagley goes out and balls out, Grayson Allen hits 4 threes, yeah, they're going to beat just about anybody.
A lot of those teams have really shitty losses.
But I mean, Rhode Island looked good today against Trae Young. I mean, they went into overtime, but they looked a lot better than they did in the back half of the season. I think they could take out Duke on Saturday. And then, yeah, if they make it past there, Michigan State is probably who they're going to end up playing, and that's not an easy matchup either, obviously, with like a lot of NBA talent on the court.
Absolutely. So I would just say at this point, my name is Andrew Levin. I'm incredibly frustrated right now. I don't know what my audio is going to sound like at any point, and so I feel like I just got to apologize to people now. But Mac Young is good at what he does, and it's been a good show, and we're going to continue to make good fucking shows. And so, anything else, boys?
Nope.
I just want to, as far as closing remarks go, I just want to say this real quick. I'm not trying to be political. This was an incredibly moving story I heard today. I don't know if you guys knew this or listened to the news at all today, but over 1 million kids across the country staged a walkout of their schools for 17 minutes to dedicate each minute to each of the lives lost in Parkland. And while I was listening to NPR this morning and on the ride home from work, listening to their stories and why they're walking, these kids are like in middle school saying some really powerful things. And I just think if you get a chance, it's something to give a listen to. It's just a really moving story. And yeah, if you have the time.
On that note, I don't think we have to beware about leaning political on anything that, hopefully at least, anything that's as simple as like valuing, recognizing the loss of kids' lives like that in that tragic way. I feel like that's a pretty easy stance to get behind, no matter what side of the line you fall on. Always sucks to see tragedies like that happen. And I think it is truly amazing to see we got kids out here eating Tide Pods, and then in other parts of the country, we have middle schoolers walking out and making stands like this and speaking eloquently on CNN and MSNBC, and speaking more eloquently than some of our leaders on either side in the country right now. So I do think that that's something that's really awesome to see and really good to draw attention to, no matter where you fall on the political spectrum.
Yeah, man. It's a somber note to end on, but that's what education's about, right? Like,
hey, man, somebody's got to say it. If we got to end this podcast on a somber note every week to get kids stop being murdered, then I'm all right with it.
I feel the same way about it, man. And so, good for those kids. My name's Andrew Levin. Mac Young, Will Mosley here as well. This has been From the Nosebleeds podcast, and we'll catch you next week. Peace out.
See ya.
Good job, guys. That was pretty good.
Mac Young, I am so sorry, dude, for whatever trouble that I'm about to cause you production-wise.
Dude, I'm so angry at you.
I'm
just kidding.
how many, go on your Mac, to give you some idea, like, on your garage band right now, how many bars are you running?
I'm about to hit stop right now, and I'll be almost at 2,000.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not nearly as bad as I thought.
I stopped at 1978.
I have
1978 too.
I have
bet.
I have 1358.
That's fine, man. You just lost like really just one thing, and
then
like
we got really
half.
When we were going through that bracket, when you like completely cut out, I didn't even realize you were out until you texted back.
Me
so I was
neither.
Like, on a long rant about.
Yeah, that was great.
Shit,
I just feel bad because I'm really like trying to be careful about shit, and I don't know why it would do that. I don't know why it would cut out like that. But
were you flipping between pages at all?
Yeah, I was.
That's what did it to me last week. I just had too much shit up, and I was trying to like go on the internet and look something up while we were talking the other week, and it just stopped.
Yeah, I think starting next week, I'm going to start doing in-show research on my cell phone instead of my computer so that I can just be running GarageBand and the Hangout on my laptop.
Just bring up as much stuff beforehand and then just do the rest on your phone.
But yeah, I thought that was really solid. I thought the timing of that was really good, pretty much in line exactly with what we're trying to create content wise. Um, so I think guys, kind of like Max said on Tuesday. I mean, now that we're sort of back into it, we had like a pretty good show tonight. Let's just sort of stay on our shit and be disciplined, get everything sent out to Mac by tomorrow morning or whatever, and sort of all that shit. But obviously it's still good, man. I think like so long as we keep finding interesting things on Tuesday to talk about, we're going to continue to have good conversations on Thursdays. Which is good because so long as we can sort of sustain that, then we'll have time to really learn the production stuff and sort of how we want the show to flow and breaking in, breaking out, doing things like that. And so, those things will definitely come with time and with comfort and experience. But, what else for tonight?
I think that's kind of good on my end. The only thing I was thinking, Mac, I just started like saving the or exporting my file, so I'll send that to you whenever it finishes exporting tonight before I head to bed. But no, I think that like yesterday we did a lot better job about obviously just even though it wasn't continuous conversation necessarily the whole day yesterday, it was good to like actually just be doing that kind of stuff and just seeing those texts roll through, just any ideas that pop up. And so I think that we need to make sure we're doing that through the weekend, obviously with the tournament and everything that's going on with that. Any like other sports stories, hell, Tiger, where he ends up finishing.
For sure. I mean, I think next
week, feel like throughout the weekend, we should just really try to be up on like what's going on that way going into Tuesday. We're just really kind of on the same page about what we've been thinking about over the weekend and what we're ready to kind of go into and what we're thinking about. I just feel like that'll help us all be on the same page on Tuesday, which will just then, run into Thursday. And then it just starts being a cycle where we feel more comfortable and more comfortable.
Yep. I agree entirely with that. So yeah, I'm doing the same. I'm bouncing my file right now, Mac. Let me apologize one last time for the bullshit that I may or may not have caused you. Hopefully it works out. If we need to sort of come back and rerun one of those conversations at some point over the weekend, hopefully we can make that happen as soon as possible.
Yeah, I actually
I'll let you know, dude. I'll just listen to mine and Will's and see. I'll have to listen to yours, see when it cuts off, and then listen to mine and Will's and see who picked up your voice a little bit better. And then from that, I can just change the volumes.
Yeah.
Also,
like Matt, I'll put you up, and then
I don't know if it would help at all, but I am stopping like the